Uh, uh. The heads of the people in front fell down and the people around them withdrew in fear. He killed! That guy killed! Isn't he the king of no killing? This is different from what I was told. The flustered people urgently rushed out with their weapons. I didn't need any special skills to catch these tadpoles. I literally used Blade of Faith and cut down those who were running. Ah! I neatly destroyed the encirclement around me. The last person started screaming when he was half cut. I stuck my blade in the struggling man. It was without hesitation. I didn't hear about him having this much skill. Run away! Up to now, I had tried not to kill no matter who attacked me. Of course, I didn't want to lose the king of no killing. As I repeated this behavior, I developed the habit of refraining from killing. It was different now. I would create a weakness if I didn't act more aggressively. That weakness meant that countless hyenas would emerge in the future. Once I decided, there was no hesitation in my hands. The rest of the hyenas collapsed in an instant. There was only one left. You are slow. I heard a sword and saw Yu Jung-hyuk putting away his sword. There was no expression on the face of the person who killed a lot more people than I did. It was clearly said that the Supreme King doesn't cooperate with him. One remaining man walked backwards while his limbs shook. I asked him, who made you do this? That? The character Sol Ingu has fallen into deep agony. The next moment, his expression changed, and he suddenly ran towards me. Ah! It couldn't be like this. It was strange. Why run to die when he had no chance of winning at all? A cool sensation flashed through my mind. Then the man yelled, "For the liberation of humanity!" He had the look of a martyr. The liberation of humanity? Yu Jung-hyuk's sword moved, and the man's head fell down. What are you looking at stupidly? I completely woke up at Yu Jung-hyuk's testy voice. Don't you think something is wrong? It is rare for a person to have such strong loyalty. You know, humans aren't such loyal animals. Moreover, in the current circumstances, Yu Jung-hyuk scolded me. You dragged out time and the ones hiding escaped. I couldn't have a conversation with this jerk. We decided to follow the trail of the one who ran away. I asked, by the way, are you going to keep going with me? Are you perhaps looking for your chance to hit me? Yu Jung-hyuk watched me with his uniquely fearsome eyes and slowly opened his mouth. You were the one who reminded me. Thanks for letting me know. I would be more grateful if you kept forgetting about it. I sighed and checked the surrounding area. It was near Kakasin Station of Seoul Subway Line 5. Yu Jung-hyuk spoke with puzzled expression. Strange. The hunting scenario should be in progress in Seoul Dome. I don't know. The hunt might actually not be hunting. All the roads leading to Kakasan, including Ujangsang Station, Sinjong Station, and Mokdong, were covered with the blood of incarnations. There were corpses lying on the streets. There had been many bodies previously. The problem this time was the method of killing. Yu Jung-hyuk looked at the wounds and nodded. The cause of these wounds are humans. If the monster hunting scenarios had proceeded, then all the wounds on these bodies would be tooth marks or claw marks from the monsters. However, these people had clearly died from sharp weapons or magic bullets. In other words, there was a fight here, regardless of the scenario. Not long afterwards, we discovered a person who had fled. Over there. Before we could approach, the man was pierced by an arrow fired from somewhere. I drew my sword to face a new enemy, only to meet an unexpected group. They were the Huang. They started talking about the dead person. There is no doubt. It is the remnants of the Savior. Finish them. I confirmed they weren't enemies and ran towards them. Wait a minute. Then the woman looked back at me. She had a face weary from combat. Kim Dokchashi? She was Min Ji-won. We heard unexpected news from her. The King faction was disbanded? First, the Maitreya King's forces were hit, and then it was the King of Wanderers. I was startled. For a moment, there was a strong feeling of dizziness. Is the King of Wanderers dead? I don't know her whereabouts. She's currently missing. Jon Ildu, the neutral king, joined the other side. It was certainly possible if it was the neutral king. Sometimes the word neutral referred to those who were the most cowardly. My mind became complicated. If my mother was hit, then there was no guarantee that Jung Hee-won or Yu Sang-ah would be safe. Who the hell were these people? I asked. Is it the Yoido voices we saw before? No, it's an emerging force. Those bastards call themselves the Salvation Church, and Yoido is in their hands right now. Salvation Church? I naturally knew this name very well. It was because the Salvation Church was a group that occupied an important position in the original novel. However, something was wrong. The original Salvation Church appeared in the 10th scenario after the liberation scenario of Seoul was over. The Salvation Church suddenly appeared on the day you left. They said they were going to liberate the human race from the scenario. The forces that went against them were removed without hesitation. Yu Jung-hyuk asked, where was such a force hiding? All the big powers in Seoul would have gathered at the start of 6th scenario. They aren't from Seoul. I immediately understood what she meant. Light suddenly gushed out in front of us. It wasn't 1 or 2 light rays falling from the sky. Humans were summoned with the light rays, as if it was a spotlight from heaven. Half of them seemed crazy, but the other half had clear eyes. Then a message was heard. New people have entered the scenario zone. The 7th main scenario is currently underway at the Seoul Dome. More than 900 people were summoned to the square. Everyone was wearing casual clothing, not combat equipment. Yu Jung-hyuk muttered, it is already time for new people to be added. At present, the main scenarios were in progress, only in the capital of countries around the world. As we went through the scenarios, too many incarnations died. In such cases, the Bureau would summon a certain amount of humans in accordance with infernal regulations. Most were randomly summoned from all over the country. Like right now. Most of the people were frightened, but many incarnations had already started to explore the surroundings. Based on their looks, they seemed to have just gone through the first scenario. Yu Jung-hyuk's eyes narrowed. The Salvation Church was summoned like them? Yes. It doesn't make sense. Those who are just summoned won't be able to defeat existing incarnations. Yu Jung-hyuk's words were right. Of course, the recently summoned would receive better rewards for the sake of balance control. However, that alone wasn't enough to beat the existing incarnations. Min Ji-won bit her lip and said, Salvation Church's lord was strong from the beginning. The trembling of her shoulders indicated someone who experienced real horror. Supreme King, I know you are strong. However, never fight him. His strength and resourcefulness has already transcended humans. He isn't human. He is like another creature. Then the Dokkaebi appeared among the murmuring people. Now, everyone, don't panic. Calm down and look here. The new incarnations paid attention to the Dokkaebi like well-behaved children. You are now summoned and are like chicks who have lost their mother. Of course, there are people who have already chosen a good sponsor, but you should know that it isn't easy to survive in this world. Thus, you will have to find a group to protect yourselves. They will be the mother who protects you until you become a mighty incarnation. At this time, some of the incarnations screamed. There isn't anything else. This information already came out. You've told us, so get out of here. The incarnation started to move before the Dokkaebi finished his words. There was the event related to the prophets, and the internal information was also released by the incarnations with the power of the internet. Many of them were probably already prepared. Supreme King! I have to stick to the side of the Supreme King. That's right! The strongest incarnation is the Supreme King. These poor people were heading to their deaths themselves. I prayed for their souls. I heard the King of Beauty is good. What are you doing? She's weak. She is unbelievably beautiful. Should we go see her first? Yes, this might help her feel better. On the other hand, some people were more cautious. Stupid fools. The real power isn't the Supreme King or the King of Beauty. I heard some people with somber eyes who gathered. The King of No Killing, or the Immortal King, is the best. The King of No Killing? It is said he doesn't even die when killed. Wow, amazing. In fact, there is a rumor that the Supreme King and King of Beauty were beaten by him. There are also many women chasing after him. Is that right? Really? Who is it? What is the king's name? I'm not sure. Damn, then how can we find them? I heard that we should find the ugliest king. I suddenly felt a gaze and Yu Jung-hyuk staring quietly at me. What was he looking at? No, recently. Meanwhile, the conversation in the incarnations continued. Which king was better and who should they go under? I felt frustrated that I had removed the absolute throne. At this moment, a sound was heard like a horn in the distance. Min Ji-won jumped and she started shaking. "We have to run away." A voice was heard before Min Ji-won could finish speaking. "Poor people playing out the scenarios of the highest beings." The voice was vast, and it was like the whole space was ringing. They appeared a monster species that resembled a giant elephant. As if they were performing, the Salvation members were mumbling something on the elephant. This march that was like a miraculous scene overwhelmed the incarnations. "We have come to save you." It was the appearance of the Salvation Church. However, Yu Jung-hyuk's expression was strange as he stared at the center of the group. "I didn't know he was going to follow me in this life."